Gen Invaders, it's me Jordan here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Well, Gen Invaders, yesterday was the epic conclusion to the two-day DC Online fan event and it was absolutely insane. We got so many cool reveals. I just really enjoyed these 2 days and I'm so excited to talk about the second day. I previously did a video on like what I thought on the first one and everything we learned in the last one, and I broke it all down, which you can check out by clicking that button up there. But yesterday was the second day because it was a 2-day event. The first one was mostly for the movies and the games, whereas the second one was more about like different things we've learned from behind the scenes and obviously TV show reveals and stuff. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys about everything we launched in the second. Now, I actually saw about 50 panels yesterday. I'm literally not exaggerating. I literally saw about 50 different panels yesterday. All these different panels. I literally saw all those yesterday. So I'm going to be speaking about all of them today. Now, I didn't see every single TV show panel because I'm either not caught up on that one or I'm just not, haven't started the show or anything. So I didn't see every single one of them, but I'm going to talk about the main news that I saw online from those panels. So there will be news I'll talk about from those panels, but I haven't seen the panels, so I might have missed stuff. Okay, so the order I'm going to break these panels down is the order that I watched the panels in. And so yeah, I'm really excited to break down everything we learnt from yesterday's event and just tell you guys my thoughts on the news and everything. So without further ado, this is the DC Fandome Part 2 breakdown. Here we go.
Okay, so I just met Stephen Amell. The cinematography of this movie was incredible.
Alright, so we are starting the breakdown of the DC Fandome Part 2 with the Batwoman panel. Obviously, this was one of my most anticipated panels because we would see Jafisa for the first time talk about Batwoman, and hopefully we were hoping for a reveal and a lot of exclusive content, which we got a fair bit of information. It wasn't as much as I thought we would get. But anyway, it was still a really cool panel. So we found out by Caroline Dries, who's the showrunner, that there will be 2 major stories in Season 2. The first one will be like, where's Kate? Like, did she go missing? Was she killed? Is she in captivity? Is she on the run? Like, what's going on? Where is she? And all these characters are going to have different conspiracies and theories on that, and that'll create a lot of tension and drama. So I'm actually really intrigued as to what they do with Kate's character. Like, will they bring her back by the end of Season 2, and will we find out where she went, or would they just always leave that? It'll just be like an overlooming question for the entire season. Who knows? I'm really intrigued to see what they do with that. And the second is just the storyline of a new hero rising. As stated by Caroline Dries, Ryan was a statistic of injustice and the system was not built for her, and she will constantly like battle against it throughout the season. And it kind of sounds a lot like Ruby's character, Kate Kane. I think that a lot of the backstory and stuff isn't the same, but the overall mannerism, like they're fighting for injustice, just maybe not going the right way about it, or it wasn't really made for them, that system. So I think it'll be something that'll be interesting to see how they differentiate from Kate's character and how they explore that the new hero rising in Season 2. It'll also explore the communities that get overlooked. For example, Mary's hospital, like those people aren't fairly treated in the public hospitals, so they're forced to go underground to those hospitals by Mary. And it will be a huge battle, and those are the ones that Ryan wants to help the most, the people who aren't treated as well in society. And obviously, being a gay black superhero, she's one of those people that get overlooked. And so she'll want to look out for other people who are just like her and are overlooked within society. And I think it's good. I know people complain about the SJW or whatever of shows. I think, especially given the political climate right now in the world about black people being mistreated and stuff, I think it is really important they have to tackle in the season, and I really hope they execute that storyline well. Mary will also take the disappearance of Kate hard, and her love for her family is something that she can relate to with Ryan. So those two people will like get along well because they obviously have similarities in the fact that they both love their families, which is why Mary will look to Ryan in a specific way. Like, they'll get along very well. Sophie is going to understand why it is important for Batwoman to like hide her identity and like not force her to take it off. She doesn't like Ryan at first, but eventually Ryan will pull Sophie out of her own shell, like, and allow her to be more of herself and less, more trusting towards Ryan. And so yeah, I don't really care about her character. I think it was boring in the first season, but maybe they might handle it better in the second. Alice's plan of destroying her sister's life was obviously couldn't be executed anymore after the disappearance of Kate, but she will still have a lot to worry about as they are introducing Sapphire, which is the I'm thinking it's going to be the Season 2 villain, portrayed by Shivani Guy. I really hope I pronounced that name right. Jai. I'm not so sure. I'm sorry. And she was heavily teased throughout Season 1, and we'll finally see her in Season 2. And Rachel Skarsten said that it'll allow us to explore Alice's backstory like we've never seen before. So I'm intrigued to see more of that. We saw a lot of her backstory in Season 1, so I really wonder what else we can see about before she was in captivity, or maybe after she came into captivity, before she became the leader of the Wonderland Gang. There are so many possibilities, and I'm really excited to see how they explore that villain in Season 2. Obviously, as we know, it is hard for Luke to trust somebody. Like, he barely trusted Bruce Wayne's cousin in the first season, or like the military. Like, it's hard for him to trust people, and so obviously when Ryan comes off the street and he'll be like, who's this person? It'll be hard for him to eventually, trust Ryan and give the Batwoman suit to her. He will be down to work with her eventually, but there will always be that pushback from him. And Luke got introduced to all these characters through Kate originally, like Sophie, Mary, all these people got introduced through Kate. So now that she won't be there, he has to learn all these new relationships without Kate being like the connective bond. He has to figure out how to socialize with these people himself, with the connection, which would be Kate, no longer there. So that's going to make for some new dynamics next season, and he'll obviously have to learn how to trust Ryan. And Caroline also states that the new suit will be used to represent what Ryan is fighting for, and making her feel empowered as representation. Obviously, we didn't get the Batwoman suit reveal. I think she posted on an Instagram story just the other day that she just filmed for the first time, so I'm hoping within the next few days we see that Batwoman suit reveal. And if it's up by the time I'm editing the video, I'll try and put it up on screen right now. If not, yeah, I was really hoping that we get the suit reveal. I'm really, really intrigued as to what it look like. Will it have the red curls? Will it have the blue and white? I mean, honestly, who knows? It could be anything. I'm really, really excited to see it when we do see it. The final point I have in this category that we learned from this panel, it was that the Kanes won't really get along well with Ryan because Commander Kane is not really fond of people off the streets. Obviously, he's high in authority, and he says you have to stand by law-abiding ways of fighting injustice. And he doesn't believe in vigilantes, so obviously it's going to take him a lot of time to get used to this new Ryan character. Kate Kane comes from wealth and status, whereas, Ryan didn't really have anything growing up. So Javisa says that, she doesn't really see them having a connection, like the Kanes and Ryan. But that will create a lot of tension throughout the season. And Caroline Dries, the showrunner, also says that whether they realize it or not, Ryan will kind of unite the Kane family. So, who knows? And we also see in the pilot EPK, so this wasn't in the panel, but this was in the pilot EPK, we see the very super comic book accurate brand new logo for Batwoman. I love it so much. I'm really, really excited to see it. Like in the like that. The opening intro. I'm really, really excited to see, that logo. I think it's really, really cool. So yeah, that's all we have from the Batwoman panel. Now let's move on to the Harley Quinn panel, the animated show. We had the brief, Ask Harley Quinn, the last day of Fandome, but we didn't really learn anything from that. That was more just a fan Q&A. We didn't learn much from this either. We learned the tiniest bit of information, and that is that there is still no confirmation for Season 3, but they still hope. And they're hoping to focus on Harley and Poison Ivy's relationship rather than focusing on who Joker will date next after being revived. I think he's revived. I haven't seen Season 2. I've seen about half of Season 2. I really hope they get a third season. If Warner Brothers does not pick them up for a third season, what are they doing? I saw this article this morning that was it's because of the HBO Max negotiations and stuff like that, and they want a high budget. So I don't think it's because of ratings and stuff. I think it's behind the scenes negotiation of financial stuff that has been picked up. But honestly, if you don't pick up this season, what are you doing? It has such a diehard fan base. It's got such a good reception from the public. I really want to see Season 3, and one can hope. But yeah, we didn't learn much from that panel. Now let's move on to the Legends of Tomorrow Season 6 panel. So the biggest reveal from this panel was the blooper reel, which isn't really saying much. But we see this new blooper reel, which was funny, I guess. I mean, I like those, but I thought this one was pretty low on the ranking of season blooper reels. It was okay. I mean, yeah. My favourite's probably the Season 6 Flash blooper reel. That was hilarious. Anyway, it was reasonably funny. There's nothing really else to add. Anyway, okay, so the first thing we learned from this panel was that Episode 2 of Season 6 will further explore the relationship between Zari 2.0 and Berard, where growing up, Berard was always in the shadows of his sister and, having to establish his own thing. This episode will place them in a timeline where Berard can do that thing, and instead Zari's the one in the shadows. So it's going to be a complete flip in the relationship between the brother and the sister. It's going to be really, really interesting to see that new dynamic, because it's always been, Zari 2.0, the one in the spotlight, and then, Berard down below, and it's going to be flipped. So that's really going to be cool, and I'm wondering how they'll execute that in the new timeline. And obviously, as we saw in the end of last season, Astra and Constantine will be living together, and Olivia Swan, who plays Astra, says that it won't be peaceful and might not even be possible because there will be a lot of tension and conflict between Constantine and Astra. So, yeah, that should be fun. And then with Sarah being abducted at the end of Season 5, the whole team will go crazy without a leader to keep them in check. Ava takes the abduction of Sarah the hardest. She will be separate from the team. However, we'll still be following a storyline, so I'm intrigued as to what shenanigans the Legends get up to while Sarah is no longer as leader. Obviously she'll probably be coming back eventually, but yeah, until then, what are they going to do and how they're going to function as a team. And the showrunner stated that we will be getting a new member to the Legends team, who is a young woman from Texas who was abducted by aliens and has a thirst for vengeance. She will come onto the ship, and she won't be the most lovable member according to them. She'll be pretty tough and will throw the Legends off a bit. Yeah, so I think it'll definitely tie into the overall villains of the aliens and, Sarah being abducted, and maybe she'll help figure out, where Sarah went and help get Sarah back. And just after the panel, it was confirmed that Lizeth Chavez, I can't say names the life of me, but Lizeth Chavez will not return to Chicago PD for season 8, and she will be instead joining Legend season 6 as a series regular. So I assume maybe she's playing this character, this new woman from Texas, who will help out with the aliens. So yeah, I'm wondering if it's going to be an original character. I think it will be. Maybe she's from the comics. Who knows? Second last point is the show will try to lean into alien genres in the next season. And even though, Supergirl does aliens of their own, they're trying to differentiate it and make it their own. So yeah, I'm excited to see their take. We already saw the Dominators in the Invasion crossover, and we see all the aliens in Supergirl all the time. So I wonder how they're going to make it different for this season. And also, after so many losses and, trying so hard to be the positive Legend, if you will. Because obviously he's lost Nate, he's lost Cesare 1.0, he's lost his father, his grandfather, he's lost literally everyone. It's pretty sad. And so he's trying so hard to be optimistic. But apparently next season, all these losses will take a toll on Nate. And it will be harder for him to deal with all these tragedies and losses. I don't think they're going to push into that emotional side of Nate that much. Because obviously it's not a comedy show. But it's leaning much more into the comedy side of Legends than it ever had before. So I don't think they'll take that much consideration into the emotional impact. It will probably be a little bit more than previous seasons, but I'm intrigued to see how Nate's character is handled next season. So yeah, that's all we learned from the Legends panel, and now let's move on to Black Lightning. Last night I saw a superhero, he was black. He said, "This is for the street, Black Lightning's back." Okay, sorry, I just love that song. Okay, so yeah, there was not really much information from this panel. They played like a 90s trivia game for about 5 minutes and spoke about, the importance of representing the black community, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement around the world and the current political climate, and how it's important to represent them. They briefly spoke about their arcs in Season 3 and what they would want for their characters in Season 4, but not really much about what actually happening in Season 4. There was a lot of uncertainty. No one really knew. They were like, I hope this happens. Did we even get anything about the new season? I don't think we did. We got literally no new information from this panel. But anyway, so let's move on to Superman and Lois. I think this was the most informative panel of the day. We got so much information for this because I think Paige said this in his video yesterday. All the other panels were like reflecting upon the past season and briefly talking about what is going on in the next season. But as this is 100% brand new show, there's nothing to talk about from previous seasons, only what is to come. Todd Halbig, who of course was the showrunner of season 5 of The Flash, by himself, and I think he did with Aaron and Angel Kreisberg and all those ones from seasons before. And he states that the main way this show will differentiate from other versions of Clark Kent and Lois is that they are now married in this version with 2 teenage boys, and they will dive into how they are teenage boys, given, Tyler Hoechlin looks so young to be having teenage boys, and we literally saw them last year with Baby and all of a sudden 2 teenage boys. So they will dive into that and how Superman doesn't really age. This show will tell the story that is as grounded as it could possibly be to have Superman in it. So yeah, I don't think it'll be Man of Steel dark. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I like Man of Steel. I just did a whole video last time saying how much I love Man of Steel. I'm not saying that I don't want the dark side, but I don't see it going that dark in this direction because Tyler Hoechlin is just such a positive Superman. Todd Halbing also states that in the show we will explore Superman and Lois as a couple, as Clark and Lois, rather than, the most powerful man in the world and the most powerful journalist, but rather as parents and how, it is to be a parent when you have 2 jobs like that and how you balance those jobs and know when enough is enough. Like, if you spend so much time, saving the world, when do you spend time with your son, and likewise. And the 2 boys will have completely different skill sets, and we'll explore how you deal with having 2 completely different children as parents. We have one, I think, is very, very athletic. I think his name is Jordan. I think it's the opposite. Jordan is not athletic in this household. But yeah, one of them is really athletic and the other one's much more academic based, and so it's going to be really, really hard. I think one's actually getting the powers of Superman and the other won't, so it'll be interesting to see how that is handled. And there was a big reason as to why Clark and Lois moved back to Smallville, as they want to have parents after this tragic event happens that forces them to move back to Smallville, and they'll find it is easier to raise kids where it isn't as hectic as it is in Metropolis. Now, if you've read the script leak, which I've read about most of it, I think I've read all of it. I think there's obviously spoiler alert. You might want to skip about 10 seconds if you haven't read that and you don't want to be spoiled on it leaks. But so yeah, spoiler alert, here we go. I think the tragedies are either the fact that Jonathan Kent's going to be dying in the pilot, apparently, according to this leak, and also that Clark is going to get fired from the Deadly Planet. Those are going to be the two major things that make them move back to Smallville. So yeah, you guys can tune back in if you didn't want to be spoiled. I'm excited to see how that is all handled. Obviously, I love my Metropolis as a Superman fan. But yeah, Smallville's okay too. So, and I love that it's a Smallville from the TV show too. So I'm really excited to see how that is all handled. And yeah, with the change of the small boy Jonathan in the beginning of Crisis to two teenage boys at the end of Crisis, Superman and Lois will use Crisis as an opportunity to create a blank slate and start from scratch and age them up and really change the two of them and how that affects the dynamic as parents. I think this is kind of obvious. That's what they were going for with the ending. It was made a very, very obvious saying boys, even though I don't really think that makes sense given that he wasn't a paragon, so he should remember his past before Crisis changed everything. Anyway, it doesn't really make sense. So I'm excited to see how this is handled. I hope it makes sense. I hope Todd Harbing does it well. I know people bash on Todd Harbing for season 5 of Flash, but he's been working on this one for months. Flash was just, he came into, he was working with so many people up until season 5, and then he had to do it all by himself. He had barely any preparation and he couldn't make it his own. I feel in this season, he's had months to prepare, and I feel because it's his own baby. He's worked on it from the very, very start. I have to have faith in him. I'm really optimistic about this show. I've got to be. I just really wanted to do well. So yeah, I'm going to give Todd Harbing the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I really hope this all makes sense and it's all well executed and well explained and everything throughout the season. So let's talk about some of the recurring characters throughout Superman and Lois. So when they go back to Smallville, Lana Lang is there, who was Clark's first love. And it will show how you deal with that dynamic as a parent. Because, in Smallville and other iterations, he's young and he's not married to Lois, obviously. He's just, getting to know people and stuff. And we've seen a love triangle back then, but we've never seen one with Lois and Clark married. And so we will see a new dynamic this season. Obviously, Tyler said it's Superman, so he won't be having an affair on Lois, thank God. If they did, I think I'd probably ban the show because that's just so dumb. Anyway, we will also see the dynamic with Lana Lang's husband, Kyla Cushing, and the daughter, Sarah Cushing, who will be interesting as they will get involved with the boys, with Jordan and Jonathan. I really hope this doesn't take up a majority of the screen time. I'm concerned it will because it seems from this panel it'll take up majority of the show. I'm starting to think it'll be split into thirds, so it'll be a third of the screen time will be Superman, a third will be Lois, investigating as a journalist, and then a third will be the kids in the love triangle and the Met School and stuff. I hope it's not that big of a part of it because it's a Superman show at heart. They even said that later on it's a superhero and a supervillain show at heart. But obviously I think this love triangle will have a major part of it. And Lois's father, General Lane, will have an interesting relationship with Superman and Lois, as he sees Superman as a soldier, and his relationship with Lois is a little tense. I think he said the word fraught or something throughout the panel. So yeah, I'm excited to see these supporting characters and how they're handled throughout the show. And he says that it's more than just a story about a family. It will still have all the superhero action in a small town. At the show's heart, as I said before, it is a superhero and supervillain show at heart, which is something great to hear because I think a lot of people are concerned it'll be just mostly about the kids and the wife and stuff. And I'm hoping that it'll be a lot more superhero and supervillain based than we think it's going to be. He says that Superman and Lois will be a team, for the first time, combining the journalistic abilities of Lois and also the physical strength of Superman. So it's going to be a combination of the two, which is really cool to hear. And Tyler Hoechlin, I think Tyler Hoechlin really gets Superman because he says it's not in regards to how many people you save, it's the quality of your access to Superman. It's not just about have you saved 1,000 people at once. It's just the little things like crossing the road with a woman or, stuff like that. And I think that's really, really great because that's what Superman is at heart. And I think Tyler Hoechlin really going to sense the character, which is all these different things that make me so optimistic for this new show. And of course, the big reveal at the end, which everyone's talking about, it has been confirmed Superman will be getting his own brand new suit in this show, as the previous one wasn't really built to sustain a season. I think we could all tell it was getting a little bit wrinkly and stuff. It was just not the best for the new show. So I'm really anticipating the full reveal. I was hoping we'd get it at this panel, but just the confirmation of a new suit is great as well. We've seen supposed leaked concept art, and it looks really, really good, and I'm really excited to see what it looks like in the actual show, if that is the real leaked suit. So, yeah. Alright, so that's all we've learned from the Superman and Lois panel. I'm really excited, and I really love what I hear. Now let's move on to the Stargirl panel. Okay, so before we start the actual show and what we'll have in season 2, let me just say a fun thing I wanted to mention here. Angelica Washington is obsessed with Hamilton like me. And Cameron Gallen, they're both obsessed, and they both apparently listen to, they know the lyrics off by heart. I've listened to the soundtrack hundreds of times. My levels of respect just jumped significantly for them. I'll have my review of Hamilton on Disney Plus next week, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to talk about that because I love musicals and I love that musical specifically. Anyway, so back onto the actual topic, which is Stargirl. So, Jeff Johns said that we will be seeing a lot more of Grundy, and he's not gone just yet. I think it was kind of expected, given that he said in an interview once that all villains could still come back except Brainwave. Brainwave is the only one that is 100% dead. So, yeah. Obviously, an Owlman let him go at the end of Stargirl. So I'm so intrigued as to see what will happen with his character next season. And they also said that they will definitely be talking about Dr. Midnight's Owl, which we saw in the 3rd episode, I think, where they were the Justice Society headquarters. And people are saying they really hope that we're going to get the Owl. I really hope so too, because that's super comic book accurate. And I think it'll be cool on the show. So we'll see. And Jeff Johns also said that the Eclipse OTs at the end of Season 1 will play a big role in Season 2, as to be expected, obviously. He also said that we'll be seeing a lot more of the Shiv-Courtney rivalry next season, which is great, because I think she was one of my favourite villains of the show. Obviously, it'll be Brainwave, probably Icicle, and Shiv. They were my 3 favourite villains, and I'm so excited to see more of her next season. I think I've said so excited so many times in this video. I'm just so excited. I'm starving content. I'm craving it. I've barely seen any new stuff in months. So, anyway. Jeff also teased that in Season 2 we will introduce new characters, and stating that things like the Pink Pen will definitely be played with and hinted throughout Season 2. Jakeem Thunder, please, Jeff. Jakeem Thunder, please bring him in. We already know he's one of Mike's friends. They literally mentioned him in an episode. I really hope they bring him in. Who knows what they're going to do with the Pink Pen and the Green Lantern and the Owl and stuff like that next season. There are so many little teasers and stuff they spread throughout Season 1. I spoke all about that in my Season 1 review last week, I think it was. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what happened. Wasn't as much news as I thought there would be. I thought there might be like a shade casting, or we might find out about Green Lantern or something. We didn't really learn much from this panel, but it was still a fun panel regardless. So yeah, that's all we have from Stargirl. Now let's move on to the Flash panel, extended this time, because we obviously had the last panel, which was only about 15 minutes, and this one's 40, so we learned a lot more information about the Flash in this panel. So let's talk about that. Okay, so according to Danielle Panabaker, Frost will be going on a date soon and will be getting a new love interest. Look, don't call me a Caitlin Snow hater, because I'm not. I like the character, but I don't really care for this new love interest. Like, I haven't really been that interested in Frost's character the last few seasons, specifically from like Season 4 onwards after Julian, and you know, the whole Frost and Caitlin thing was just, it was not much consistency with the writing. Like one time Frost hates Caitlin, and the next episode she's a scientist who loves Caitlin. It was just so inconsistent, and I don't care, to be honest. I don't really care. Like, I'm worn out on that character, to be honest, and especially getting a love interest. I'm like, why? They may win me over, and I'm willing to give Eric the benefit of the doubt, but until they do, I can't really be excited for that. Danielle Nicolai said that up until now, Cecile's powers have been very, very passive and neutral. They haven't really been used as effective as they possibly could be. And she says that next season they will become more active, and we're going to see Cecile exploring that, struggling with that, and getting herself into trouble in the meantime. And Eric says, boy, do we know it, or something like that. So, yeah, I hope she's used more on the show, because she's a decent character. And Eric Wallace teased that Nash and the Welleses, goes out to you, my Discord mod, Harry Wells, will change radically and super fun, and you won't see them coming. So, I'm really intrigued as to how it's handled inside his head. They spoke about that like 3 times throughout the panel, about how it will be handled. I'm really disappointed Tom Cavanaugh wasn't there. But look, I want Harry back just as much as anyone, but I think Nash is a pretty decent character himself, and the fact that we're going to get all of it combined in his head will be something really interesting to see how that's handled in the next season. Eric also states that the current political climate, there was an article from Entertainment Weekly a few days ago as well, that the current political climate of, Black Lives Matter and police brutality will be explored specifically through Joe's storyline next season. But he says it'll kind of be a little bit fun, but also it'll be obviously serious, because it's a serious topic, and that will significantly impact Joe's character next season. Look, as I said before, I think just ignoring what's going on in the world is ignorant, and it's wrong. I think we have a platform like you do at The Flash and Batwoman, and you can represent black people, or, people of the LGBTQ community, or you can represent current political issues with, police brutality or stuff, gun control, stuff like that. I don't mind it. I think I'm not watching a SJW show, but having the storylines in it every now and then, I'm okay with that. I understand that. That's why I still watch Supergirl. I would have quit 4 years ago if I hated all this sort of stuff. That doesn't really impact me as a viewer of the audience. I'm tolerant of that, and I understand why it has to be done. So that's just my opinion. If you don't want to watch that stuff, you're entitled to not watch it, but that's just my opinion. Eric also states that him and Grant have had extensive talks about the gold boots. And while he says that he loves them too, he thinks they must be earned and they must be given to him throughout a story. He can't just be saying, oh, here's some gold boots. So I wonder what he means by that. Like, does he have to just complete a mission or something to get the gold boots? Like, I wonder what he means by that. He says he promises Grant that will definitely happen, and he is determined, but he just can't say when. When he applies the gold boots onto the Flash suit, it's going to look super comic book accurate, and it's going to look amazing. Season 6 is already my favorite Flash suit, but yeah, I'm really excited to see if they add the Season 7 gold. It's going to be well above the Season 6 suit, and well above Season 4 suit. So please, just hurry up, just put them on already. 2 more points here. Team Citizen will be more involved next season, and they will be investigating a specific thing Eric can't talk about. I guess this is as good as mine for that one. Very intrigued as to what that would be. And he also said that Team Citizen will explore the fallout of having the team leader stuck in the Mirrorverse for like a few months out of action, and they'll be exploring what it's like without her and how they handle being journalists without her as the shining star, if you will. But yeah, the final note I have in here, which many people may not have caught because they may not have seen this panel. As I said, I saw over 50 panels, so I saw literally everything I possibly could have. And in the Truth, Justice, the DC Comics Way panel, Eric Walsh states that there will be a literal African-American character introduced this season, and he's finally figured out a way to bring them in, and he is so excited to do this. He's been wanting to for a long time, and we will see where it goes. That's very cryptic. Like, what does he mean by a literal African-American super character? What could it be? I have no idea. If you have any guesses, let me know in the comments. That's really intriguing. That's all we got from the Arrowverse shows. Now let's just talk about some of the other TV shows, which, as I said, I haven't seen these panels. These are just ones I saw online, and I'm not caught up on any of these shows. But let's just talk about this. So, we found out the official title of Young Justice Season 4 has been confirmed to be Young Justice Phantoms. Okay. Doom Patrol has been officially confirmed for a Season 3. I think everyone was expecting it, given how well it did on DC Universe, I think. Or did it do terrible? I can't remember. Yeah, so I think a lot of people were happy by this news. And then it's been confirmed that in Pennyworth Season 2, Martha will be pregnant, Martha Kent. And also a blooper reel was shown at the Lucifer 5A panel. And a clip was shown from the upcoming musical episode where they're singing Another One Bites the Dust on a field. I love musicals. I love Queen. I love superheroes. That is going to be an epic episode when I eventually get caught up. Can't wait. And also the return of Donna Troy was heavily teased at the Titans DC Fandome panel. Sure. Obviously, in the last video, I spoke about the Flash Season 6 trailer and the news about Red Hood and Scarecrow, but that was like in the previous panel, so you can check out that video in the cards from before. But anyway, that's all we got from the other TV shows. Now let's talk about some of the movies. We didn't get as much movie news as we did last time, because obviously we had designated movie panels, but like we had different Q&As and different like other panels, which we got to learn a little bit more about the movies. So here we go. I'm not sure I'll be able to find the clip anymore because I've got a screen record and I just realised that. Oh no. But in the look behind the music panel, in the Insiderverse, we got an exclusive look at the Snyder Cut Justice League theme with Junkie XL. If I can find it, I'll play a little bit of it here. If not, it was a great theme, and I hope you guys can find that panel somewhere and you guys can hear it yourself. It's really, really cool. Now let's talk about some of the Q&As. So it was confirmed by Margot Robbie that halfway through the Suicide Squad movie, there is a major scene that she doesn't want to spoil, but one of the most difficult scenes that she's shot, and she only had 4 days to do it or something. It's one of the most epic scenes she's ever shot. I wonder what that means. In the Shazam Q&A, we find out that we will explore more of the family becoming superheroes and them discovering their powers more. I think this was to be expected because obviously we barely saw anything from the first Shazam movie, and I'm excited to see what they do in the second. And in the Flash movie Q&A, we learnt so much from this panel. Ezra Miller states that Barry Allen could travel anywhere in the DCEU and even beyond, as obviously we saw in Crisis. And the director Andy stated that while it is based on the Flashpoint comic book, it'll obviously be inspired by it. It won't be a direct copy. I think everyone predicted this based off what we heard. And producer Barber also stated there are lots of DC characters in it, and Barry will be the bridge between them all. I think we already knew this, given, you know, the Michael Keaton and Backflip news. But this is the biggest news that we got from the movie side today, or yesterday, was that Barbara, the producer, said that this movie, in a way, restarts everything, but doesn't forget anything. I'm surprised, like, no one really saw this Q&A, so people might not know this. Like, they would have talked about this in the panel. I'm really surprised they didn't. Like, that's massive. Like, Pattinson's Batman will maybe replace Batfleck, but will still remember Batfleck, or... how do you restart everything, but not forget. I spoke about this in the last video. I am extremely excited for this movie, especially with the return of Batfleck, and it's Flash, my favorite superhero, and saying it'll restart everything, like, this is going to be a very significant movie, I can tell you that much. The final thing that we learned at Fandome, or at least that I saw at Fandome, was that one thing that gets really hopeful about the Flash movie also is that Ezra states one of the reasons it's taken so long for this movie to get made is because they refuse to settle for anything less than the best portrayal of Barry possible. I wasn't the biggest fan of I liked it, but I wasn't the biggest fan of him in the Justice League movie. So him saying that it's going to be like the best portrayal possible, makes me really, really excited, and I have a lot more faith in Ezra, Barbara, and Andy now. So I'm really excited to see this movie. I can't wait to see it. 2022 in June, I think it is. Please hurry up, get here faster. I want to see the Flash movie. Anyway, so that is all we learned from DC Fandome, from the second part at least. If you want to see the first part and everything we learned last time, be sure to press that video before or linked in the description. But before we wrap up this video, I just wanted to briefly talk about my thoughts on DC Fandome as a whole and whether I think we should do this more going forward and what was my favorite reveal and stuff. I don't want to speak about this for myself. I want some more insight, some more, some help from other people. So I'm going to bring in my Discord server staff right now, and we will discuss what we thought of DC Fandome as a whole and whether they should do this again. So here's that interview. Okay, so now I'm joined by some of my Discord server staff. Of course, if you do want to join the Discord server, feel free to click the link in the description. I've got some of my Discord server staff to, discuss more about DC Fandome and what they thought of the event as a whole and give more insight, because one of them is like a diehard comic reader, and so it'll be interesting to get some more insight as to what they thought of the event. So please welcome my Discord server staff. We've got Gold and Spec. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Spectre, but you can call me Spec.
Gold?
Hi guys, it's me, it's Gold Hat Man.
Okay, so what did you guys think of DC Fandome as a whole? Like, did you guys enjoy it? Did you think it was a fail? What did you guys think?
I thought it was not a failure at all. I think DC and Warner Brothers, they really took a chance, and I think it really paid off. Hall of Heroes, it rolled in 22 million viewers?
Something like that, yeah.
Goes to show that a lot of people are excited about Fandome, and a DC exclusive event or hub for the fans, by the fans, especially because none of the competition, they don't really have anything like that. So it'd be really cool.
Gold, what did you think?
So I personally thought, same sentiments with Spec. It was really creative, and the fact that, especially they were able to come up with this kind of thing, especially in the conditions that the world is in right now. We've got some pretty sick stuff.
And speaking of sick stuff, what did you guys think was the coolest reveal? Specifically from Explore the Multiverse yesterday's event.
I didn't really watch much of yesterday's event because I was really busy, but I think Killer Frost getting a love interest and really exploring that character.
As I spoke about earlier, I don't really care for Frost, to be honest. Like, she's been quite lackluster the last few seasons. Her story's been all over the place, so I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with that.
At the end of Julian's character arc, I was just like, I'm done with this. And then this season, she was like, I'm Frost, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, ugh.
And that's valid. That's perfectly fine,
Like, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but hey, yeah.
Yeah, that's keep an open mind.
Personally, for me, I think the Superman suit reveal. Well, we didn't see the suit, but we got a confirmation that we're going to get a new one. It was really exciting. I mean, we kind of all assumed, but I think the other one's just so outdated, so it's going to be really, really cool.
Right, yeah.
See a new one for the series. I'm just so excited for Superman and Lois as a whole. What was your favorite reveal, Gold?
Well, for me, I didn't like Spec. I didn't watch much of the panels, but the tease of the Flash gold boots and the fact that maybe not, we might get them someday. It's pretty cool.
Please, Eric. What about DC Fandome as a whole? Like, for me, it was probably just the Flash stuff and getting the confirmation of, the new suit and the new Lightning, and Batfleck was the day earlier. Like that, I'm just really excited for that movie. What about you guys?
For the trailer for Batman.
Oh, that's up there too. Yeah.
I freaked out during that trailer, bro. It was so good. Matt Reeves definitely knows what he's doing. Like, just listening to him talk actually about the movie was just interesting on its own, because he really gets character.
So, do you guys see, Fandome as something going forward?
Alright, so, I personally think that, I don't know, because here's the thing. Fandome, if they were to do it in the future, I think it may be a paid event, maybe, something like that, but then again...
Didn't someone say, that it might be on a paywall? Someone heard that?
Yeah,
something like that. Well, I guess if things do start to open up, SDCC might be their go back. It's going to be interesting to see.
And Spec, you've openly talked about how you think that they should be doing something like this going forward because they're more successful.
Yeah, I do think that, but also when Gold pointed out that they'd probably join back to the San Diego Comic Con. I mean, I kind of see where he's coming from because, they probably put that on a paywall. I mean, think about it. Like, I know they're marketing Fandome as a global experience, but it's only global because it's digital, right? But once it's opened up again, they could just rent a room or like a hall and then make that their Fandome. And I doubt they would do that because I'm pretty sure that would cost more money than actually going to San Diego Comic Con, right?
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for joining this call with me today.
No problem, man.
And of course, do you guys want to plug yourself or your Instagram or anything?
Follow me at Twitter, SK Spectre.
Okay, so all links are in the description. You can follow Respect on Twitter and join my Discord server. Thank you guys for joining this call, and yeah, take care.
Alright, see ya.
There you go. So yeah, that was my overall thoughts on Fandome, and that was everything we learned from the second half. As I said 3 times already, everything we learned in the last Fandome day is linked in the description box down below, or you can check out the cards from before, and this is everything we learned from the second day. So yeah, I really enjoy these days. I wish I could talk about literally everything in this. There were so many different panels and so much cool insight and stuff we learned. But we'll be talking for another 4 hours. I've talked about everything I learned, not just about future movies, but past movies too and how they're made. Anyway, so I'm rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope you guys enjoyed Fandome as a whole, because I definitely did. I think it was quite successful, at least the first half was, and I really hope they do something similar that we can all access next year, but still give it that same sense of exclusivity. And yeah, I'm really intrigued as to what they would do, as I said before. Subscribe and turn on the post notifications so you guys know when I upload a video. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Stay geeky, guys. My name is Jordan, and I am out. Bye! And turn on the post notifications so you guys know when I never so you guys know when I never upload a video.